Hello, everyone, and welcome to
Hi,
Dice Jailers. I'm Jordan,
I'm Bjorn.
and this week we are going to talk about our favorite tropes for starting campaigns with. And
Yes.
that can be from like plot hooks to just monsters to use. We're just gonna talk about our favorite low level stuff. But before that, Bjorn, how you been this week, bud?
Fantastic. We have our next one shot this
Yeah, we do.
Saturday.
Yeah, we
Um,
do.
I'm not gonna give a whole lot. All it's just gonna be called is goblins question mark. Um, that's all I'm saying about it. Uh,
What that So for
that's
any
all
of
you
you
get.
watching, this is the first time I'm hearing of the name,
Yeah.
and now it
It's
makes sense why you just told us to make a backup goblin. Oh no.
it's it's goblins question mark. Yeah, this is a really silly, fun one shot. It's called Herbal's Fools. Found it on the DM's Guild.
Hmm.
It's really awesome. I've been waiting to do this one for a bit, and as much as I would love to wait, till next April for like April Fools and all that,
Yeah.
it's Herbal's Fools in July. So any of you who know what it is, that's great. Those of you who don't, tune in. This is going to be so wonderfully stupid. Um, there are
Oh
some certain
no.
mechanics in it that I cannot wait to foist upon my unwitting players.
I
And
I made a
yeah.
good wholesome character to play as.
And you know what? Your good wholesome character might have a time. I don't know if it'll be good or bad. They may, and
Oh
things may
no.
happen where instead you have to play a goblin. So
Oh no.
yeah. Uh, a lot of this week has been sort of dealing with that. Also, just trying to get caught up on stuff. The weekend when we had the heat wave, I didn't do anything other than sweat.
Yeah,
So, catching up on a few things, which not so bad. And yeah, what about yourself? What's good other than finding out about goblins?
that just threw me for a loop.
You're welcome.
No, this last week's been all right. Uh, went and got the preliminary of my suit for the wedding of fans, friends of the show, Saint and Anna. Their
Yeah.
wedding. I'm officiating, and I'm got my new suit that's on its way. It's gonna get needs to be like altered and refitted and whatnot, but I'm always a fan of a good suit, and now that like shows are happening again, I do need a new opening night suit. So
Does it have a top hat?
absolutely not.
Okay, had to ask.
We don't put we don't put a top hat to cover this.
I'm just, had to ask.
Also, if I'm going to have a top hat, I would also need a cape, and that's just too many things.
Oh, see, I assumed you had a cape already. Like I
I
was
do
thinking, maybe.
have the cape, but like if I'm gonna
Okay,
wear a top hat, I'm
yeah,
also gonna need to wear a cape, and like I don't want to bring all those things also to the show.
that's fair. That's fair. Last question on the suit. Does it make you look at all like Lando Calrissian?
Not really.
You may
Completely
have gotten
different color
fleeced on this
scheme.
deal. You may have been fleeced on this deal.
No, because the color scheme wouldn't exactly work with their wedding. Well, except for the
Okay.
blue.
See.
Yeah. Well, actually, the vest is blue, so relatively, it's a different kind.
Close
It's a
enough.
different color blue, though.
But like we've discussed this,
Anyway.
Billy D. Williams is generally the right answer in life.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
If you can be Billy D. Williams. Uh, but I did get. And you know what? No, I'm gonna because Saint and Anna watched. Well, Saint's already seen it. Okay, but I did get this bow tie to go
Ooh,
along with everything. So that's gonna be
nice.
great. Uh, I don't know why I'm like I should keep it a surprise for people. Why? It's not my fucking wedding.
Nah, I hear it. Check it out. I got this, y'all. Yeah, works great.
Yeah. And also exciting news is that so my mom has been with my sister, my brother-in-law, and the nephews trying to help them with all of the like remote schooling for
Yeah,
over COVID, and my mom has just flown back into town yesterday.
nice.
So it's been over a year since I've seen my mom last in person. So it'd be nice to say hi to my mom and whatnot.
Yeah,
'Cause
you guys have met a time or two. I've heard.
once or twice.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's just I haven't seen my mom in a while, and I'm used to seeing my mom a lot. So
Nice. Well, welcome home, Mom.
Because I mean, she lives like a 20-minute drive away from here, so like, I I'm used to seeing her more often.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well, I mean, sometimes that's the way things you got to deal with. Like we've had
yeah,
this whole nonsense for over a year and a half
we've
now,
had
and
the entire panorama.
having to adjust, having to get used to it. It's almost like a new way of doing things.
Yep. Uh, and like it'll be interesting because one of the new things that we're gonna try and do at the bar nearby. I know you were trying to segue, but I'm not done talking about
That's
this.
fine. That's
Uh,
fine. I got more.
one of the things that we're doing is because we realized like a bunch of our moms in the friend group at the bar are like retiring or like just have more time on their hands, and we're
Sure.
trying to do Mom's Day at the bar,
So
like
so
not
they can all
specifically
meet.
Mother's Day,
Yeah.
but
So they can all meet
just
in a tavern.
exactly.
Yeah.
There you see where I was going with that.
Yeah, I did. I did.
We can get all our moms together in a tavern for the first time to start a new adventure of drinking with their children. Uh,
That's the segue. That's the segue.
so yeah, this week
Alcohol and children. They go hand in hand.
they
Can't have alcohol without children.
that
That's what they always say.
no, that's not
No,
no.
I thought that was the saying.
It's not.
No,
No, it's very much not the saying.
this is
Where
why I
do
don't
you
have kids.
live?
This is why. This is why I don't know how sayings work. I don't I don't know how children work.
But you have a cat, and that's close enough.
Yeah, I do have a cat. She's wonderful. No, those little bottles. I like little bottles of whiskey. I would assume for like children's hands. So you can no.
The only reason it should be in a child's hand is if they are bringing it to you.
Oh wow. This explains why the holidays always get awkward when I'm around.
Yeah, that would track.
My
So-
babysitting business is never going to take off, is it?
It shouldn't.
Well played. Well played. That was nearly beverage out my nose.
Oh no,
But
then
yes.
you really need a new computer.
Oh man, it's at a good distance right now. It would have been safe.
Oh,
It
all
would've-
right.
Yeah.
See what I've got going on right here. No, if I spit take, it's all over.
But stories have to start somewhere, right?
Mhm.
And while you can come up with the most unique method possible of starting a story, there really is something to be said about the good old fashioned trope of you start in a tavern. I
Yep.
mean,
The reason why that's such a big trope is because it is the easiest way to get all the characters together. Like, you're an adventurer. You're probably going to show up in a tavern because most small towns' taverns also are where the food is.
well, sure. I mean, if you look at some classic stories, Lord of the Rings is where I'm always going to go when we're talking about D&D. Simply because it's sword and sorcery and dragons and all these wonderful things and good versus evil. We have it all. But you look at how a lot of these characters meet each other. You have the initial 4 hobbits who all already knew each other because they're from a small town, which can be a wonderful way to start an adventure, honestly.
Absolutely.
If you have the players go, hey, how do you guys all know each other? It gives a bond and camaraderie and gives a reason for them to stick together. Because
Yep.
let's face it, when you have that close relationship that Frodo and Sam had, it made sense that Samwise literally would follow Frodo basically through the gates of hell.
Yeah.
Like he had that bond, he had that willingness. Gimli wasn't about to do that. He would have had his limitations.
Yep.
Nothing against him, but Gimli doesn't meet those folks until they're already at the Council of Elrond in
Yeah.
Rivendell. Aragorn got picked up at the Prancing Pony Tavern.
At the tavern.
Exactly. You look at where some of these characters meet each other, and while for storytelling in a novel or a film, all these locations are great, you don't usually get that luxury with D&D.
No, because you've usually gotta have a way for all the characters with all of your party's ridiculous ass backstories to
Yep.
be in the same place at the same time. And usually it brings in our favorite trope of, so you're all in a tavern.
Exactly.
And there are a few different starting tropes that even come from they're like sub tropes of the meeting in a tavern.
True.
And personally, my favorite of those sub tropes is the rats in a cellar.
Yes.
I don't know what it is about me, but I love that first level adventuring party of, well, if you're looking to make some money, I've got some overly sized rats down in my cellar that I can't take care of myself, and I'll pay you a little bit to go take care of them. Because then it also lets you make ROUS jokes,
Yep.
and as I'm a Princess Bride nerd, those are going to happen.
Oh, sure. And I think that could be a really fun one to do as well because it's going to give you a combat encounter, which
Mm-hmm.
allows these characters to try out their abilities. We've talked about this. I think outside of one shots, I think level one sucks.
Yep.
I don't think it's. I think it's very fun in one shots. I love level one shots, but for a campaign, you're too fragile. You don't have a whole lot that you can do. So having a combat encounter where you know there is no chance of lethality,
Well,
well,
a low chance of lethality,
dice
and
are
what a
dice.
hell of a way to die.
If you get killed by rats,
You
then it's
deserved it.
yeah. Well, you know what a great way to not get killed by rats is have a good amount of hit points. Because remember, con is
No,
not a dump
you
stat.
can just have a high dex and they won't hit you.
They can roll a 20. I'm just
Yeah, but if they roll a 20 even on your high con character, that's still gonna kill you.
not if it's a barbarian.
I've seen it happen before.
That's a DM who was giving those creatures too much damage. That said,
No, just high rolls.
how you gonna take out 15 hit points in one shot?
With a crit.
What were you using for damage? Those rats shouldn't be using more than a D4.
Depends on the rat. If they're large rats. What?
That's a big fucking rat.
Well, it's only one of them.
Okay.
It's a CR1.
That's when the party sees this gigantic ass rat, comes back up and says the bartender goes, You
It's
said you had rats, plural.
it's
That's
the
the Rat King.
it's the
I'm going
beginning
home.
of the game A Bard's Tale. Except for that rat also breathed fire. So I didn't have the rat breathe fire, but it was
Sure.
a CR1 rat.
That's a very powerful rat.
Yeah. It was a rat of unusual size.
Rat of unusual stats is what that was.
Nope. Regular rat stats. Just CR1.
But sidebar aside, I think the rats in the cellar one, also why it's good is you can open up so many avenues for the adventure. Your players are now in a cellar. You can have them find a locked chest or a rolled up parchment or a secret passageway. Like you can
I'm
open
always
up.
a fan of secret tunnels.
Yes. Secret passageways, I think, are one of the best ways to really kick off an adventure because who knows what's there? And it
And
can take.
everyone loves secrets.
Yeah. I mean, and the beauty of it, you can go in so many different directions. It can go to the Underdark. It could be a secret passageway to a noble's house. It could be full on Alice in Wonderland.
Yep.
Like it could be a gateway to a portal that takes them across the plains or
Well,
through
now you're
time.
thinking with portals.
Like there's a lot you can do with a simple secret passageway. And all you started with was rats in a cellar because you started in a tavern, which got all your characters in the same place at the same time.
Yep.
The other reason I'm big on you all meet in a tavern is you get to get a good gauge of what your players' characters are like in their downtime.
Yep.
It gives you some valuable information as a DM. Do they all drink? Are they loud, rambunctious, silly? Do you have one who, no, they only drink water? They just don't consume alcohol. So you know who the voice of reason for better or worse, is going to have to be through a lot of this. You can you can
I
gain a
now
fair
I
amount
now
of
want to play a character that's sober but still not the voice of reason.
right? Just a bad influence
Just give me
overall.
the world's most chaotic bard that doesn't drink.
Chaotic teetotaler. Or
He's
maybe
playing
they
at
all,
the tavern.
maybe they get completely inebriated, all of them, which
Mm,
adds all the more fun to the rats in the cellar. At which case, you just make them regular ass rats, but
oh
you
yeah.
let them try and catch them at disadvantage to
Yep.
everything because they're drunk.
Do you have besides rats in the cellar? Do you have another subgenre of the trope of starting in a tavern that you like? Because
There
I have
are,
one.
I mean, it's not. Uh, Actually, yes. I was about to sidebar off of starting in a tavern, but we'll get
Yeah.
there. There is one I really like, and it is
Is it?
simply everyone's in the tavern, everyone's having a great time, and suddenly there's an explosion outside.
Yep.
There is some form of chaos. And then through the narrative, as you know, this is where I'm willing to force my players a little bit in terms of railroading
Yeah.
in certain moments. I'll say there's an explosion outside, people start pouring out, and I will ask them as a group, what do you all do? Usually I'll do that.
Yep.
Every now and then I'll go, as you all run outside.
Mm-hmm.
If one of the players says, actually, I don't go outside, I'm going to do this, I'll let them. Like,
Yeah.
player agency is very important to me. But if none of them resist, I'll mention how they all go outside and what they see. And I get very torn between two great possibilities.
Mm.
One is it's some sort of bandit attack, defend the town, like
Mm.
just be heroes. My
Or
other favorite, it's the Tarrasque.
it's not my town, not my problem. I'm out.
Yeah, it's or even if you're not using a Tarrasque, using some sort of monstrosity or incredibly
Mm-hmm.
powerful beast, where upon sight your players know
Nope.
there's nothing we can do about this,
Yep.
and let them decide how they're going to run and escape, and also how many people they are or aren't going to help.
Yep. Nothing like starting the campaign with an elder red dragon.
Yeah, just let that massive dragon be there destroying everything, and let your players decide, okay, are they just going to get the hell out of there and only save their own skins? And don't punish them if
Yeah.
they're going to do that. I should say, don't punish them in the moment.
Yep. That I would say like, and we talked about this a couple different times. I am a big fan of having things come back to bite my players.
Yes.
But in that moment, that would be one thing where the only punishment for them is that NPCs aren't around later.
I
Like
would do
that's
that.
the only thing that I would do,
The
honestly.
here's the frosting I would put on that cake. I'd have them come across some NPCs at some point who were there, who recognized them, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, you're the ones who turned tail and ran when the rest of us tried to save some people. You're the
Mm.
ones who
Hmm.
only care about yourselves." Okay.
Yep. And look how we are now in our big golden glittering armor.
Yeah. Like, I would have people take it very personally.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I
but
can see
but
that
that's
one
as
too.
much of a consequence as I would really have. And frankly, if one of my players decided that as an act of heroism to try and protect people, that they're going to run up to this elder dragon and try and attack it,
Chomp.
well, I, I don't know that I'm going to chomp, in, only because what is more interesting to me, I'm just going to have the dragon fucking taunt them and just make it clear your attacks are meaningless to this.
Mm,
Because I also would love for it to be a consequence to that dragon for letting this peon live.
fair enough. See, for
Uh,
me, I I'm a big fan of consequences also being comedy.
sure.
So stomped. Just straight up stomp. Roll up a new character. That was great. You'll be heralded as the hero who got squished.
See, I might consider him getting stomped, but I would have them getting stomped in like wet marshland and allow them to survive only if they made this single attack on it. If they keep pressing it, however, they're going to get et.
Then they get stomp and chomp.
And I like I said, I like consequences for both the characters and for NPCs slash villains. And an example from our campaign I'll use. You guys were, I think, level 5, maybe 6, when you left the Murdoon Mines and you encountered Tregtar for the very first time. He could have killed you all in that moment with one spell. But he let you live because you were insignificant.
Yep.
Look where that has gotten him.
Yeah, now we've killed him once and he had a clone, and then almost killed him another time and he disappeared.
And you destroyed his spell book.
Yeah.
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 His gear belongs to your warlock. Your bard just destroyed his spell book. I think he regrets not killing you.
I'm thinking about using a bonus action attack to pants him during our next fight. Because all that we have left to take from him is his dignity.
He has robes, not pants, but you could try anyways.
Yeah. Just yoink his robe. Just Tregtar, you don't even have dignity anymore.
I'll allow it.
Anyway, back to our favorite tropes.
What about you? Do you have any others specifically from the tavern?
I've got one more from starting in the tavern.
Okay.
Actually, I have two more now that I think about it. And the one that's quicker to mention is the
tavern is a mimic.
No, but now that's my favorite. Right. Fucking full smart house on it.
Yeah.
But no, my two other favorites from just starting in the tavern trope is the like, how do we get the party together? Well, nothing brings the party together like a good fight. So there's a bar brawl.
Waterdeep Dragon Heist.
Yep, starts with a bar brawl. Like, it's great because you don't necessarily have any reason to like these other people even in the middle of this bar brawl.
Yeah.
But unless people are dicks, which sometimes they are, your players are going to metagame a little bit into not hitting the other players.
Right.
It's one of the few times that you can rely on metagaming, because it's gonna happen unless someone's a dick, and then you know that they don't need to be at your table anyway.
Right.
But my other one that I really, really like is the mysterious hooded man in the corner.
Aragorn!
Yep, just
Aragorn.
So, you fancy yourselves adventurers? Well, I have this evil contract, or whatever, this nefarious contract to be fulfilled.
I thought you were going to have them try and sell a timeshare.
In the abyss.
There you go. See, there you go. No, but I'm with you. I love the mysterious, individual in the shadows, where you make it very clear to your players this individual is a point of interest. I believe as a DM, have two plans for what to do with that character. Have the standard, dark, mysterious voice who's going to offer them some sort of job, and it's going to be dangerous. That's if the players go up and investigate. And if you have that group of players who goes, we ignore them and go outside, turn them into a very whiny comedic character instantly. I would say have two plans for what you're going to do with them.
See, my alternate plan is making that person be the villain.
Sure.
If they don't talk to him, he's the villain now.
You had your chance.
Yep.
You had your chance.
So we talked a little bit, we mentioned one of my favorite monsters to have a lower level character start, and that's the rats, because that's one usual size. Do you have any particular like enemies that you like to throw at low level parties that are kind of tropey?
There are a couple, actually. One of my favorites, and you mentioned the bar brawl, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. This one also is featured in that bar brawl. a troll. And
Mm,
that's simply because trolls have that regenerative ability that unless they're hit with fire, they keep coming back even after you put them down.
yep.
There's a real chance that all of your adventurers at level 1, there's a chance that none of them have a fire spell or a
Probably not.
fire ability. So you can have them put that troll down. Like they'll have to come up with a way to finish it off.
It's like, is
I
there a
like
torch on the wall?
yeah, I like things like that that have the ability to get up or and come back. The other one I really like is some sort of lycanthrope.
Yep.
And that's simply because one, they've got a built-in damage resistance or sometimes damage immunities.
Hmm.
And the other thing is if I'm that DM, I'm going to do everything in my power to bite at least one of them.
Oh yeah.
Maybe they'll make the con save, maybe they won't. But I can tell you now, I'm going to target the one that I know has the lowest con save. I'm absolutely going to do it
Yeah.
because I want to put lycanthropy on someone. I
Yep.
want it to be a thing they have to deal with, or at least some sort of curse.
Yep.
Because then you have a built in first quest.
Yep. Is
Lift this curse.
is so we got to get this motherfucker uncursed.
Yep. Yep.
See, for me with early enemies, I really go like super standard for your beginning enemies. I go kobolds, I go
Sure.
wolves, I go maybe an owl bear.
Sure.
Like I give I there's a piece of me that wants to give my players like cuz also most of the time when I'm DMing for new players.
Sure. Sure.
I'm getting new people into the fold. So there's a lot of me that's just like, all right, let's give them the classicest of classic. Uh, the classic one that I leave out is goblins because they're an actual player race now, and
Yeah.
so they can actually be sentient and not just like these random creatures. And like, there's something to be said for that for kobolds as well, but I don't
I'm the
like
same way.
kobolds,
I'm the same
so
way with orcs. I have a hard time just using orcs as generic villains.
yeah,
Half orc is my favorite player race.
yep,
I like the improvement to the orc race, being able to play one. I like orcs, man. Orcs are
yeah.
awesome and they're
That's
powerful.
because you're a big strong boy player.
I am. As someone who is not a strong boy at all, I like to play strong boy
You're
characters.
you're a big strong boy player.
I am. I
But yeah,
like.
like I like to throw those classic first ones, like, you know, in the middle of the first quest, you're attacked by a pack of wolves when you're camping. Like
Yeah.
you get wherever you're at gets raided by some kobolds. Uh, Sometimes I throw in like a lizard folk that's in control of the kobolds, just to give it a little bit of story reason why they're
Sure.
attacking. Uh, but I love throwing early players into fights, especially with wild animals.
I think there's a lot to be said for that. I think, especially when you have newer players,
Hmm.
being able to find those fantasy tropes that you know they're going to recognize, because you know you get to be a seasoned enough D&D player, and you can roll your eyes at some of those very stereotypical, or some might say cookie cutter or generic encounters.
Yeah,
But let's face it, as a player, the very first time you got to roll initiative against a dragon, it was awesome.
magical.
Yeah, you were like, "Oh, I've always wanted to fight a dragon." And now you get to. And frankly, I think that's part of what makes the essentials kit even more than the starter set,
Hmm.
because the Venom Fang in the starter set, you kind of have to go out of your way to encounter, and
Yeah,
you're totally under leveled for that encounter. Whereas the essentials kit, Dragon of Icespire Peak, the dragon is in the title of the adventure, and
yep,
the adventure literally culminates with you fighting the dragon.
yeah.
It's awesome, and I think it's the greatest adventure out there for brand new players. If you've
Mhm.
never played D&D, and if you were a DM running it for them, like, oh man, Dragon of Icespire Peak, because at the end they get
You
to
fight
fight
a
the dragon.
dragon.
They will
That's
be excited and they will enjoy it, and it's a winnable fight. It's a
It
winnable
is.
fight.
See,
It's not easy, but it's
the
winnable.
the reason though that I like to send my new players and newer characters up against wild animals is because I love, and it's an evil part of me that loves this, but I love to watch new players waste a round or two trying to convince these animals to just not fight.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
It's so great because it happens almost every time, and it's just, well, what if we just throw some food out this way? Did it work? Roll animal handling. 2.
At disadvantage.
Yeah. 2. It growls at you. It's like,
No, I'm with you. Those moments are beautiful, not just for the hilarity of when it doesn't work, but as a DM, I love to reward them when it does work.
yeah,
Like, and again, I'm not going to give somebody all the Beastmaster Ranger revised traits, or even the shitty old one. You're not going to get that just because you got that natural 20 animal handling on the
yeah, no.
wolf.
That just
What I'm
means the
going to
wolf
give
isn't
you,
going to bite you.
no, I might give you a pet dog. It's like, but like, I don't got a problem. You got a pet, but now, much like when someone who does get a pet, you've got to take care of it.
Yep.
Like, I'll
And
make it a
it's
liability in combat.
Yep, and that pet is not going to be slightly possessed by an archfey so it
No.
doesn't drown.
Nope. In fact, what's most likely to happen is the next time combat happens, your pet gets scared and runs the hell off.
Yep.
And now
Or
you can decide if you're going to go find the damn thing.
Yep. Or the big bad evil guy shows up just to kill your pet and then leave.
Yep.
And now you're John Wick.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
That would actually be a great non-tropey opening.
Wouldn't it?
It's just the big bad evil guy. He killed my cat. And just that's the whole adventure hook for your character. It's just fuck this guy because he killed my cat.
I will say for ways to get players together to start off, there are two more kind of tropey, but I think great ones that I really like. One of them you can find at the beginning of Out of the Abyss. It's the way I started our campaign.
Yep.
You all wake up in a jail or prison cell.
Yep. That's another great trope.
I love that one because it instantly forms the need to work together.
Yep.
Like, you all want out.
Yep. No one wants to be in prison. So,
So
what you do when you get out, well, that's your choice. But you at least have to work together to break out.
Yeah. So it's like, do you know who these other people are? Maybe not. Do you care right now? Probably not. All you know is they want out too, and you all know you stand a better chance of getting out if you work together.
Mm-hmm. But if there's a sketchy dragonborn that asks you to help him, don't.
You didn't know he was sketchy. You just knew he was in a cell.
That is true. But I love to note at every turn that my character went, nah, let's just leave him.
Yep.
My character very clearly was, I don't want to take the time to help him, so let's go.
You were like, let's leave.
And he ended up being a villain. So
he did.
I was right.
You were. He was very dead shortly after his heel turn, though. So
that's true. But still.
The other one I really like, and this is similar to the tavern, but not quite the same. I love this one because you're in a confined location. You're all on the same ship. Like,
yeah.
On a boat. And it can be like a Viking longship. It can be set out for exploration. It could be that you're going to war. There are a lot of reasons.
It could be just a relatively normal like ferry trip across, like a large lake, or like because Seattle, like going to one of the San Juans. Like, you're just taking a ferry for a day trip and something happens.
Yeah, you know what a fun thing you can do when you have people all being passengers on the same thing is you can have them get marooned somewhere.
Yep.
I mean, Gilligan's Island, Lost. These are series
Oh my
that had to
god.
do with you were on an island somewhere and you got to figure out ways to leave.
We need to play a campaign that's just Gilligan's Island, like a short-term
I'm
campaign.
I'm in.
Uh
I'll put
only only rule, no
yep.
artificers.
No, none. Absolutely not. The professor died. The professor died in the crash. No artificers. Uh, I mean, but how I mean, honestly, I say that halfway as a joke, but as it came out of my mouth, I'm going, I think using Gilligan's Island as a framework could be
That
a
would be great.
very, very fun adventure. Like, honestly, the difference between Gilligan's Island and Lost is whether or not you want comedy or drama for your Lost Island campaign theme.
Pretty much.
And yeah,
Yeah.
so that's one of the reasons I really like a ship is you are all confined to the same space.
I
If you're
I
gonna have
have
everybody,
yeah, I have one more reason why starting your campaign using the trope of you're all on the same ship
yep,
uh is because as a DM you can set the tone by playing the song I'm on a boat.
true. You could also set the tone by playing the Pirates of the Caribbean theme music
Mhm. Or a myriad of sea shanties.
or the Gilligan's Island theme.
Also, yes.
Like
Or
there's
the
a lot.
SpongeBob theme.
Yes, there are a lot of things you can do, and there are a lot of things you can do with that boat.
Yep.
Does it get to its destination? What is its destination? If it doesn't get to its destination, does it, wreck on the shore of an uncharted desert isle?
Or
Does it
is it
get
my favorite
sunk by
thing?
pirates?
Mhm.
And then you can go from on a ship to in the prison of a pirate ship hold. One from the other.
Wait,
That is
I've got it even further. So in you start on the dining deck of the ship,
yep,
which is effectively the tavern.
sure.
There's an alarm of a pirate attack, and
Yeah.
then you get shanghaied by pirates, and you end up in the hold.
And a great simple binary you can give your players at that start is you have the pirate captain basically say, okay, you can take the oath. You can join my crew because you all fought well in that skirmish. I lost a few men. Could use some sailors like you. Or we're going to throw you in the hold and see what we can get for you when we reach port.
Mm-hmm.
You can decide, and then your players can decide, okay, do we want to join? And you make it that the captain says this has to be unanimous.
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
we're not going to let one of you join the crew to break the other three out. You're all in or you're all out. And if they go, we're all in, you have a pirate campaign. If they
Yep.
go, we're all out, they're thrown in the brig and they get to decide, are we going to try and break out before we make port? Once it makes port? Once we've been let off to wherever the hells they're taking us? You give your players a lot of options.
Yep. And if you join the ship, pirate campaign,
Yeah.
do you mutiny?
Exactly. Or when do you mutiny?
Yeah.
Because
Or
you're good.
when do you pull a Kingsley and just like, hey, you don't need this other ship, so I'm just
Fine
gonna
now.
take it. Bye.
Yep. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with starting on a ship, and I
Yeah.
love that as a starting trope, and also because it gives you just this very unknown where you're going, and
Mhm.
it gives your players a real freedom to just interact with each other.
Yep. Now, there's one other trope that I want to talk about, because it is heavily featured in pre-written campaigns for Pathfinder.
Okay.
Uh, and this is the trope of there is a grand mission
Okay.
to be undertaken. Like, some and my personal favorite of the pre-written ones that are in Pathfinder is the Kingmaker campaign.
Yes.
Because it's just the coolest grand mission. But the idea of the grand mission trope is that the monarch or the high council or whatever is calling mercenaries and adventurers from all around to do this thing. And if you do this thing, you also get these riches.
Yep.
And in the Kingmaker one, it's you have to tame this area and kill this bandit captain, and then you get to be the duke of that area.
Yep.
Like, and it's just my favorite kind of starting trope because you can use a myriad of different goals, of different rewards, and also it gives just about any kind of character a reason to be with this group. Because
It
it's just
does.
like everyone answered this call. We've grouped you together based on your skills. We've grouped you together based on either if you came as a group already or just by your skills that we thought might be good. Uh, and here you go.
I uh I think another fun one, and this occurred to me only because I have seen some stories use this one. I've seen this one primarily. Like the first one that came to my mind was Dimension 20 has definitely
Mm-hmm.
used this. Is setting your campaign in a school of some
Oh,
sort.
yup.
You're
Go in the
all
school trope. Oh,
students,
yeah.
and you can find so many reasons to put this exact group together. Are they part of a certain clique or a frat or a house? Are you going to go this like Harry Potter route, or
Or
do you have it where
Breakfast
they've
Club.
that was what I was just going to say. You go
Yeah.
the Breakfast Club where they've all done something wrong. They all have some reason they're in detention or whatever. And while these characters are in this one spot, that's when all hell breaks loose.
Yep.
I mean, it's, I think for that one, as always, like we've said, you got to have your session zero. You've got to talk to your
Absolutely.
players. Make sure everyone's on board for the kind of campaign you want to run. Um, I don't know if I can understand a player where if you said, "Hey, I'm going to kind of run this, sort of in a school. I kind of have this sort of breakfast club idea." If they're not in, I don't understand them
Yeah,
because
that's not a person I want to play with because what kind of person doesn't want to play through the Breakfast Club?
yeah, it just sounds fun. And let
It's
your players know, like, you don't have to tell them exactly how it's going to start, but give them sort of a tone idea long before they create their character.
mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, if you tell me this is a magic school and it's going to be kind of like the Breakfast Club, the character I would create for that is very different than if you say this is going to be very Lord of the Rings. Like,
Absolutely.
I'm going to create different characters for both of those. I can think of comedic characters I could create for both. I can think of serious characters for both.
I'm still
But
making a rogue.
you are. You probably are.
I like playing rogues for you.
You do? Because you're playing a fighter artificer.
I mean, no, but I mean, in like, how many times have I played rogues in different campaigns that we've done?
True. True.
Like,
All the roguey goodness.
I like being a sneaky boy.
Yep.
Uh, but yeah, doing the they're all in school together. That is a trope that I didn't even think of
It's
that
fun.
I love.
And
Uh,
also, depending
oh
on the
my
way you're going
god.
to progress your story, you can have leveling up be at the end of a school year if you
Mm,
want. I would say make those school years move kind of fast,
yep,
but
like
also
there's
allows you to let your characters play with downtime a lot.
yep,
You kind of just built in things you can do.
yep. Or like maybe they level up at the end of the semester or something. Eh. Or
However you want
maybe or maybe it's Wizard College and you're in Animal House.
to do it. Right? I mean, but that's great. Think of all the great and terrible college movies that are out there. Think of all the different challenges, adventures, like story hooks you
And
can
double
put
secret
in.
probation.
Yeah, it's it's absolutely incredible. And frankly, don't be afraid to use that comedic setup of your Animal House or any of those in a campaign that's going to be overly serious. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't be afraid to, because I don't know about you. I find it very interesting when the entire fate of the world falls into the hands of a bunch of fuck ups who only met not too long ago.
Yep. Oh,
Like,
big fan.
for whatever reason, you're the only ones who can do this.
Kind of like Exandria Unlimited, where they have a single brain cell between them.
Yeah, it's great. It's absolutely wonderful.
Yeah. Oh, that reminds me of one starting trope that I've seen used in a lot of different like home games,
Okay.
but as far as people talking about this trope, people like don't really mention it as a starting trope.
What's that?
But it's the trope of uh it's really the trope of the wild sheep chase. The trope of I've been turned into something that I'm not. Help me.
Yes.
And I've
Yes.
seen it used as the opening of so many different campaigns, but people don't think of it as a campaign opening trope. And I'm telling you, yes, it is, and use it.
Yeah, I mean, we did Winghorn Press's Wild Sheep Chase.
Mm-hmm.
It's honestly, anytime I see someone who goes, I'm gonna DM for the first time, I'm looking for a one shot, I don't know what to do. Uh, Either I tell them to run Wild Sheep Chase, or I get into the comments after someone has already told them to
To
run
run
Wild
wild
Sheep
sheep
Chase.
chase.
And I've never ever seen it where at least one person didn't go, what they said. That's what I was here to say.
Yep.
Like, it's highly recommended for a reason. If you're going to do that, I recommend taking the tact Wild Sheep Chase does, where it flat out tells you this sheep is literally the cutest thing you've seen in your life. Like,
Absolutely.
just looking at it, you feel compelled to help it. Especially in the case of a one shot, like, remind your players, hey,
This is
follow
the
the
thing we're
story.
doing.
Yeah. I know some people hate railroading with a passion. I'm sorry, if it's a one shot,
You're
like,
getting railroaded.
yeah, ding 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 with the trolley. Get on the
Also,
tracks. You're getting railroaded.
as much as people hate railroading, when you're at low levels, it's going to happen. You
Yes.
need it to be saved from yourselves.
And that's a great point, because the thing
Mm-hmm.
is, um, if your DM just plans out everything that's everywhere and you can go everywhere, any of you who's ever played an open world video game knows full well that you just take a path to the left through the forest, and all of a sudden the stat bar of the monster in front of you just has a big red skull on it.
Hey,
And you know, don't go that way, and you
nope.
run. You
Yep.
run. In
Because
D&D, the best you get to that big red skull is your DM describing what this massive monster did. But there's this, you want to talk about tropes. This isn't a storytelling trope. This is an accurate trope of almost all D&D players
oh
who have
no,
this mindset of, it's got a stat block, guys, we can kill it. And they all think they're freaking invincible. I was like,
nope.
that's a Tarrasque.
Stomp.
You're level 1. Yeah, you're
Mhm.
going to die.
That.
So
Oh, the and we touched on this trope a
yeah,
little bit. You mentioned it when back when we were talking about the Trask the first time. Is the like you're all in the tavern, and then something explodes outside.
kaboom.
Uh, it's an like an alternate of that trope is you don't have to all be in the tavern, but you are in town and something attacks.
Yes.
That is another great trope. They use it not at the start, but they use that as a story hook a couple times in Waterdeep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
we're just like you're all in town and then attacked.
And it's a good one because it allows your players some freedom to show you who their characters are.
Mm-hmm.
I would say as a DM, if a character's instinct is to save themselves, don't punish that. I will say the one thing you can punish the hell out of is if someone decides that their character is a complete coward and will never go towards danger. In which case, you kill their character and tell that player, create a new character who's willing to be an adventurer.
Exactly.
Because
Yes.
we've talked about this. You can have an adventurer who's a coward, but the way you have to play that, I think, I'm sure there are a few others, but it's
Yeah.
like you're always going to stay near the party
Yep.
because you're safer that way.
It's I'm scared, but I'm still gonna do this, as
Yeah,
opposed to
like
I'm scared. No.
my two examples for that are the friggin' Cowardly Lion and Scooby Doo.
Yep.
those two always went towards danger. In fact, the Cowardly
Shout out to
Lion,
Scoob.
yeah, if Cowardly Lion was the first one to go towards danger every time. Fun fact, like I'll very briefly sidebar. The Scarecrow wanted a brain, the Tin Man wanted a heart, and the Lion wanted courage. The Scarecrow came up with all the plans. The Tin Man wouldn't stop crying, and the
Mm-hmm.
Lion always went first into danger. They
Yep.
always had what they sought. Just fun
Yep.
little Wizard of Oz factoid. But yeah, Scooby Doo constantly went towards stuff. Yes, they had to give him a Scooby snack. Okay,
Yep.
if you're going to play a character, make a Scooby snack mechanic for yourself.
Yep.
I find that interesting. But if you're going to play a character who always goes, oh, danger's that way, I want to go this way, that's frustrating to both the DM and the
And the
players.
rest of the party. Yeah.
Yeah, it slows the game.
But with the trope of the something attacks the city,
Yep.
Some people may be worried about like, oh, but how will I make sure that the party gets together? The castle's a safe house.
Yep.
Just have all of the town guards, all of the people, all of the NPCs just screaming, "Get to the castle! It's
Exactly.
safe there."
Get
And
to
that's
the keep.
the easiest way to get your players together off of that.
Yeah.
And then also you can give your players a revenge quest against the big bad evil guy that showed up right at the beginning.
Yeah. There's one more starting trope I want to talk about.
All right.
I've used this one for a specific adventure in a different game system, and I could see using it full on for D&D sometime.
Okay.
This one requires a delicate hand, but you start the whole thing with a TPK.
Ooh, okay. Yup. I see you. I
You're
see you.
all dead. You let them play the same characters, and there are two ways you can do this. You can do one where you start with a TPK, and then they all wake up, and they all go to the tavern, and that's the actual first time they've met because you realize you're
Yeah.
seeing people from this dream you just had, where you all watched each other die,
Hmm.
and through the events, the adventure, you have them realize this was a glimpse of our fate. So they're trying to save themselves from that fate. You can do
Mhm.
that. Or you straight up just open with a TPK and now they're in the nine hells or the abyss or something.
Hmm.
And for some reason, they have to go forward and either
Because the devil went down to Georgia, and here's how you can get your souls back.
yeah. The way I did it, I was running DC Heroes where
Mm.
all my players went up to the Justice League Watchtower because Superman had summoned them there. And no hero, if Superman said, I need to see you at the Watchtower, not a single DC hero would go, I'm not answering that call.
Yeah, none would.
It's Superman. You would go. And then Superman entered Killing Combat and killed all of them instantly.
Mm-hmm.
And they went to hell and they met Etrigan the demon, who explained, hey, here's who sold their soul to kill you all, but one of you wasn't there when they were wronged. And because that happened, I'm sorry, they met the Spectre. They met Spectre before they met Etrigan. Doesn't matter who they met. Regardless,
Doesn't matter.
They met an NPC who basically told them, you weren't supposed to die today. But because you did, and because your soul wasn't supposed to be part of this, I get to intervene. So you all have a way back. You can fix this, but here's what you have to do. And it was this lengthy adventure where they kind of had to travel through time and go to this one fixed point to bring their souls back. But that's a way you can start things, is you start with a TPK, and now there are souls who are bound together for a cause. So they have to travel together.
I think the way that I would use that is I would go a little bit stealing from the game Cuphead.
Okay.
Where, like, you start off, everyone's dead, and here you are with the devil, and the devil says, well, I've got your souls now, but there are a number of souls on the material plane that I am owed, that I need someone to go collect. If you can collect all of them, you can have your lives back. And that would be that would be the way that I would want to start using that trope.
I think that works well for the right adventuring party. If you have a more morally gray group of players, that's a great way to do it. and also making it clear, here's the thing, I'm going to send you back to the material plane to do this job. Um, your bodies will essentially be mortal. So you don't get a second
Yeah, so
chance.
if you die again, you're just dead.
Yeah. Like, make it clear, you die again, you're dead, your soul's mine forever. You
Yep.
get nothing. So you can then make it very clear about how important it is to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I was like, even making it clear, like you going that route, you could make it like, all right, I'll let you, I'll let you get revived by magic once,
yeah,
like that kind of thing. Like you get one up, buddy.
that's it. That is it.
Otherwise, I'm cutting the tether, and you won't be able to go back, even by magical means, unless you fucking wish.
Yeah. Yeah. And there are great ways you can put that. Because if someone asks, like, well, what do you mean there's only one? It would take somebody, like, it's like you could wish for it and you might get it. To make it very
Mm.
clear, okay, if you get high enough where someone gets the wish spell, there's a chance. But
So you're saying there's a chance?
yeah, but that's the other kind of trope one I wanted to throw in there. If you want to have sort of this intense beginning, um, I do think if you're going to start with a TPK and do that, I would say either warn your players or know your players.
Yeah.
Like, there are players that if you started it by killing their character, they're going to be upset, and those players don't play D&D wrong. I ask you a very very brief sidebar. I hate when I see people kind of want to come down on somebody who's upset that their character died. Um, some people don't give a shit. Some people do. I'm in the camp of people who cares. Like, if my character were to die and I have to roll up a new one, I've had to do it before. For
Mm.
me, it sucks because I put a lot of work into every character I play. And even though
Mm.
I have 50 more ready to go, I wanted to play that one. I was
See, and
excited about that one.
for me, I am in the opposite camp
I
where
know you are.
if if he dies, he dies,
Yes.
and
And
that's just an opportunity to tell a new story.
yeah, and honestly, I would say neither of us are wrong as players. We
Yep.
just have our own approach. So if I was going to play in a, hey, we're going to start this shit with a TPK, I would love a little heads up on that because I
Mm-hmm.
know the kind of character I would build for something like that. Going, okay, here's who would be down with that. I have a few different ideas. One of which straight up being like a lawful good paladin
Mm-hmm.
of, you have to go kill these people to bring these souls to get them back. I can see why that paladin would be willing to do it. And the bargains they would have to make with themselves probably for
Mm-hmm.
some of these contracts. And
Oh,
that'd be fun for
absolutely.
me. But I would need to know that going in. It'd be very different from my Gilligan's Island character.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
Mm. I just thought of another trope that we have yet to mention, and with 2 minutes left, I think I can squeeze it in.
Do it, please.
Uh, so it does for this one. It does not matter where your characters are, as long as they are relatively together.
Okay.
Group thievery,
Yes.
where you're
A
just
heist.
not even a heist, but like it's just the like the top of the session. You describe like wherever they're at, and then you let them RP for like just a little bit, and then all right, everyone roll me perception checks. Anyone who rolls like higher than a 10, we'll say.
Yeah.
You notice your belt pouch feels a little lighter.
You all just got robbed.
And just everyone got robbed. What do
If I
you do
can
now?
if I can caboose onto that train real quick, just a very quick sidebar on
Yeah.
that, because it just occurred to me, one more amazing thing you can do. Uh, you basically do it where have your players in their backstory be like, one of the questions you ask them, who do you owe a debt to?
Oh,
And
yep,
then you make it that all of them, it's that same person.
yep.
And you start the campaign where they've come to collect.
So I bet you're wondering why I've called you all here.
Yep. This is the
It's
job you're going
because I need my money,
on. Yep.
and we're
Yep.
gonna steal it from the king.
Exactly.
Ocean's 11.
Yeah, like do that. Don't shy away from tropes. Don't shy away from things that are well known.
They're
Like,
great. They're fun. They're tropes for a reason.
and honestly, if your players roll their eyes at them, they probably take themselves too seriously. Like,
Yep.
have fun. How many D&D games have basically just been some different iteration of fucking Lord of the Rings?
Most of them.
Come on.
But yeah, yeah. As we've said, don't shy away from the tropes. The tropes are fun. They're there for a reason, and do remember that yes, this game gets serious and can be incredibly emotionally helpful for people dealing with things.
Yep.
It's also still a game.
It is.
Enjoy the fuck out of it with your tropes.
It's meant to be fun. Don't be afraid to go Gilligan's Island.
Yep. Well, that sounds like a great like button to close this one on. So thank you for watching. Do remember that our Thursday episodes will be up on our YouTube on Saturday at noon, the following Saturday on noon, and this Saturday we'll also have, starting at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, we'll be doing our one shot. And what's it called?
Goblins?
God, it's gonna
also
be great.
known as Herbal's Fools, which is the correct name for it.
Come through and
goblins.
Yep. Come through and watch, enjoy. I'll be in the chat while we're playing. I'll do my best to keep watching and talking with all y'all. And remember to do all the internet things so we can get YouTube Daddy's money and Twitch Daddy's money.
We deserve it more than some of those fucks do. Let's be honest.
I mean, yeah, but that's we could do a whole show just on that. But we don't want to throw that kind of shade out into the internet recorded.
Not yet.
We will just talk about that at the bar between ourselves.
Hell yeah.
But anyway, yes, again, thank you for watching. Please do all the internet things to give us internet money. And what do we always say?
Do something nice for yourself this weekend.